Hey everybody, welcome back to another plein air painting video. This is going to be a speed challenge. I'm going to see how quickly I can turn out a color study. I got a small panel over here on my handmade pochade box. But yeah, I pulled over at a random spot alongside the road. I like the view. I've never painted here before, but we're going to see how quickly I can paint this. I'm not going to try to turn out anything amazing. It is a practice painting. So I'm trying to capture realistic colors and values. What else? Oh yeah, I'm going to be looking at the clock before I start and then try to get done as quick as I can and then check the clock to see how long it took at the end. So let's get into it. Okay guys, let's take a quick look at what we're going to be working on. You can see this is my handmade pochade box on my old easel. I pull this out for really quick studies that I want to do. That's what we're, like I said, going to be working on today. This is a very small particle board panel, nothing fancy. The size is probably something like a 4x4 inch or maybe a 5x5 inch, not exact measurements, but it's in that range, I'm sure. So yeah, let's take a quick look at the colors we're going to be using. We have lemon yellow, we have some sky blue, titanium white, and then I'm not sure what this is actually. I would guess it is scarlet, some sort of red, and then we have orange, permanent green light, sap green, ivory black, and then I got a little bit of my trusty linseed oil. This is the only medium that I use. So yeah, let's take a look at what we're going to be painting, and then we'll go as quick as we can. This is what we got to work with. Really beautiful area. What do I want to paint? I kind of like this area right here. I like the clouds. I like this area over here, but I don't have a long panel, so I can't paint all of that. I kind of like this area, actually, right here. If I make a square right across like this, we got a little bit of a higher horizon line, probably. I could feature some of these clouds up here. But I'm liking this area, so let's take it to the sketch. Okay, let's jump right into it. Whoops, I'm already dropping my brush in the paint and getting paint on it. So I'm just going to put the sketch on with some of this green, sap green paint. And it's about 5:15, so we're on the clock now. Let's get this on. I want to have distant bluffs back there come up like this. There's a little bit of a ridge line, comes down like that, goes up to another one right there, back down. Well, something like that. Okay, and then we got another closer hill, comes up like this. These are trees right here. Trees come down right about to there. This is a field. Down here, comes up like that, and then comes down again, right back there. I might lower this a little bit. We got a bigger tree back there coming up. We have a distant field going up like that. Goes back up in here, some more trees back there, and it comes down like that. Okay, and then we have some clouds. Oh, maybe I shouldn't paint them in with this green paint. I don't know, I can wipe it back, I suppose. Yeah, probably not a good idea. I'm just going to say right off the bat, I made a little bit of a mistake here, but you don't want to have green up in your sky. And for some reason, I chose to do the sketch with green paint. Note to self, probably want to use a brown for the sketch, which is a good thing to bring up because I actually, if you noticed, I don't have any brown in my palette. So I can mix brown with the colors I have, and that is kind of what I decided to do. But yeah, I don't have any brown, so that is something important to note. You don't want green up in your sky. So I can just use this shop towel here and wipe it back when I'm ready to actually apply the paint on there. But yeah, let's get some color on quick. Let's get this green out of here. Wasting time with this green paint. If you're wondering why I'm using a smaller brush here to block in the painting and not a larger brush so I can cover more ground quicker, I would tell you, as I try to move fast here, that I find I can get a lot more loose brush strokes in to my painting. It just looks better. I feel like it adds more life and movement into the painting. And it's a whole lot nicer to me to paint all these brush strokes in rather than just having kind of just one big, brush stroke going across for the sky. It covers more ground, yes, but I feel like you lose a lot of character in those looser strokes that you could have had if you used a smaller brush. I am going to be using a lighter value towards the horizon, so more titanium white here, closer to the horizon, and more blue, more of that sky blue, further up. And also, I'm adding just a touch of orange into this mixture, which is a complementary opposite to the blue I have. And when you add them together, they neutralize each other to form a nice gray. The blue is dominant in the mixture, but I'm just graying it out with a little bit of that orange. And now for the clouds. There's going to be a little bit of a darker gray base. So less titanium white with the same mixture that I use for the sky, and probably a little bit more orange. And we're just going to come in here and add some gray bases to those clouds, and then add a little bit more titanium white. We'll just make these clouds really quick. We can flesh them out a little bit more in a minute as well by adding more titanium white, but I'm going to finish up the sky first. That's a little bit, oops, I just got my knuckle in the paint there. That happens. Happens when you're rushing. Why do I want to do this? Well, I want to time myself because I guess I'm curious if I go quick and I just say I have an hour to do something and I think, hey, I wonder if I can fit a plein air painting into that time. How accurate would I be with that? Could I do it? If I only had an hour, could I get everything packed up in the car and get out there? That's one of the reasons. Another reason is I don't have that much time today. So I am trying to squeeze this painting in. Alright, I've already almost used up all my titanium white on the palette. I'm going to come up here and make these clouds a little bit more white. I think I'm going to work on these background hills. So what I'm going to do for that is have a very cool green put this in there, see how it looks. I think that's a pretty good color for now. I'll leave it. It just helps with that sense of depth that we're going for. Not bad, not bad. Now, I'm going to add some closer trees in. And so we're going to add a little bit more yellow to our green. And that'll help bring them forward. Make them a little bit of a darker value though, I think. That's not bad. I'm going to add a little bit of that scarlet and orange and a little bit of ivory black into my sap green. And we're going to see how well we can paint these tree shadows in these closer trees. Now remember, these are just the shadows, so I don't want to paint the entire thing in with that color. And then I'm going to lighten up the value and put in this green for those trees. There's these little lines in the corn in this foreground field. I'm just going to add in quick. Okay. Now I want you guys to take a look at what I'm seeing over here. First of all, you can see this line of cloud here is what I am incorporating, because I like how you have this line coming down at this angle and then you have this line of those clouds coming in at that angle. I think it works good with this line and then just kind of the overall general lines and vectors we have in the composition. So that cloud, I don't normally paint the clouds as they are. I usually try to, sneak them in how I want them, but this is one of those rare times where I actually want to use what I see in the clouds. Also, right back here, you can see the green for these fields is very light. I'm going to try to zoom in here. Right back there. That's what I want to grab. So let's put that color on. Light green, here we come. I'm going to desaturate it a little bit with that sky color. So I'm mixing in my permanent green light into my old sky color. We're going to bring it up here. I like that. I'm going to add a little bit more green into it, more yellow into it, as I bring it forward. We've talked about this before, but just in case you're new to the channel, yellow and consequently those vibrant greens with a lot of the yellow in it is really something that is lost when you're looking at things really far away. It just kind of gets lost in the distance and that color doesn't get to you. It doesn't travel very far, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So when you want to make something look far away, you just kind of make it a little bit more cool. Blue travels really well. You can see blue very easily from a distance, and I think it's probably because of the way light works, but also you're looking through a lot of atmosphere and things just kind of get cool and grayed out the further back they are. So I want to reflect that in this painting. Okay, now the corn is got some tassels on it. It's later in the year, so I'm going to make them a little bit more brown looking. And to do that, I'm going to mix up some scarlet, a little bit of orange in with my permanent green light and lemon yellow. so that I get a color like this. Let's make it a little bit darker, a little bit more green as well. And that will be our cornfield. Okay. I'm working so quick, I don't mind at all that my base paint color, that burnt sienna tonal underpainting that I have there, I don't mind that that shows through. Wherever you see it peeking through the cracks of my paint here, the little windows that I've left open, it will help tie the entire painting together because you'll see it all over the painting. So it'll just add congruency. Okay, that's the basic elements right there. I want to come back in this area, back in here, and try to work on these trees a little bit more. Okay, I'm gonna just clean all that wet paint off because I'm going back up into the sky with the brush. And I'm gonna be taking some white because I'm gonna be working on those clouds. I want to capture those clouds as quickly and well as I can. One of the reasons why I chose this area to paint was because the other area I had in mind I knew was going to be in full sun, and this area was all shaded, so it was going to be cooler, and I just like painting and filming when it's a little bit less bright. The direct sunlight tends to bleach out my colors, and then for you guys watching, it makes the filming a little bit harder to see, I feel like. Now what I'm going to do is come down to the very bottom of the painting, right down here, and I'm going to add some of those tall corn stalks that are just lining the base of the field. Very subtly, like that. Don't need to go overboard. Alright guys, I'm going to add in some highlights to that corn. And they're very subtle. Alright, I'm going to add a little bit of highlight to this tree, perhaps, at the top and around the edges. I'm going to add some simple highlights to these trees. Help them look more like trees. Well, let's take a look at our reference. There's kind of a line of closer trees going up the side right there. That's a brighter green, probably because they're in direct sun, but I like that, so I'm going to try to see if I can paint that in. I could stop it right now, but I want to fidget with that sky so bad. I want to add some more in there, but I can't do it. I don't have any titanium white left on the palette. I am going to super quickly change those trees right there. Maybe I'll scratch some of this away as well. Just to break it up a little bit. I feel like it's needing a little bit more texture. There we go. Okay, stop the clock. We are done. A lot more to be done with it. Let's take a look at it here. A lot more to be done with it. For one thing, I don't like how straight the top of that background ridge is, but it's a good little color study. Let's just see how long it took us here. Let's put it down. We'll take away a minute or so. But let's just see. Whoop. Here we go. 6:08. Let's go ahead and give it a quick sign. Alright everybody, that is going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this plein air painting video, this color study, practice painting of this beautiful valley here. Overall, I'm really happy with it. We started at 5:15 and ended at right around 6 o'clock. So just about a full hour of painting. Really happy with how it turned out, even though it's a very, very simple practice painting. I learned a lot, and you always come away a little better than when you first began, when you do little color studies like this. So yeah, thumbs up if you like the video. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, God bless you all. We'll see you later.